Hello students, in this video I am trying to mention about the sources of the Indian Constitution, or we can say about the influences of other constitutions over the Indian Constitution. The Constituent Assembly, while in the process of making the Constitution of India, the members of the Constituent Assembly, they had gone through different constitutions of different world or different states of the world, and after going through about 60 constitutions of 60 states, they have picked up some the best features of those constitutions and incorporated in the Indian Constitution. So in this video I am trying to mention those sources or the influences of those constitutions or the constitutions of those states in the Indian Constitution. What are those features and along with the states where from those features are picked up by the framers of the Indian Constitution and incorporated in our constitution. So let's start the video. Firstly, the first source we can say the Government of India Act of 1935. That means when India was under the British rule, before India gets its independence, the British Parliament used to enact various laws to govern India. So the Government of India Act, it was another one of such acts which was formulated or which was enacted by the British Parliament in the year 1935, and from that act the framers of the Indian Constitution have also brought some of the features of that act or provisions of that act and incorporated in the Indian Constitution. Now what are those features? Firstly, the federal structure, office of the governor, judiciary, public service commissions, emergency provisions, and administrative details. These are the sources which are brought from the Government of India Act 1935 and included in our constitution. The second source is from the British Constitution. The parliamentary form of government, rule of law, legislative procedure, single citizenship, cabinet system, prerogative writs, parliamentary privileges, and bicameralism. All these features are brought by the framers of the Indian Constitution to the Indian Constitution from the British Constitution. Next source is from the US Constitution. Fundamental rights, the independence of judiciary, judicial review, impeachment of the president, removal of the judges of the Supreme Court and the High Courts, post of vice president, all these features are brought into the Indian Constitution from the US Constitution. Next source is from the Constitution of Ireland. Directive principles of state policies, this is very important. Method of election of the President of India and nomination of members to Rajya Sabha. All these features and provisions are brought by the framers of the Indian Constitution from the Irish Constitution. Next source is the Constitution of Canada. About the strong center, residuary powers in the hands of the central government, appointment of the governor of states by the center, advisory jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. All these are brought into the Indian Constitution from the Constitution of Canada. Next source is the Constitution of Australia. The framers, they have brought the idea of concurrent list, freedom of trade and commerce, joint sitting of the two houses of parliament from the Constitution of Australia. Next source is the Weimar Constitution of Germany. The suspension of fundamental rights during emergency. These provisions have also been brought by the framers of the Indian Constitution from the Constitution of Germany. Next source is the Constitution of Soviet Union or USSR or the presently Russia. Our fundamental duties, this idea has been brought from the Constitution of Soviet Union. Ideals of justice in the preamble such as social, economic and political, all these provisions have been brought from the Constitution of Soviet Union. Next, from French Constitution, the idea of republic, ideals of liberty, equality, fraternity in the preamble, all these are brought from the French Constitution. Next is the South African Constitution. The procedure of amendment of the Indian Constitution, election of the members of the Rajya Sabha, these ideas are brought by the framers from the Constitution of South Africa and included in our Constitution. Next source is the Constitution of Japan. That means procedure established by law this feature or provision has been brought to the Indian Constitution from by taking ideas from the Constitution of Japan, or by taking inspiration from the Constitution of Japan. So these are some of the sources of the Indian Constitution, or influences of other constitution over the Indian Constitution. And the source of this video is Indian Polity by M. Lakshmikant, 6th edition. Thank you.